The golden anniversary celebration sparkled with elegance. The grand ballroom, bathed in the glow of crystal chandeliers, seemed to hum with the warmth of gathered loved ones. Laughter and music intertwined, champagne glasses clinked, and all eyes were on Charles and Eleanor, celebrating 50 years of marriage, a milestone admired by all. Eleanor stood radiant in her gold-threaded gown, her hand resting lightly on Charles's arm as he captivated the room with his speech. He shared stories of their life together, painting a picture of devotion and shared dreams. But as the applause settled, Eleanor stepped forward to the microphone, her serene smile masking an unspoken resolve. 50 years, she began, her voice steady, is a long time to share a life, a journey filled with joys, challenges, and discoveries. A ripple of curiosity passed through the crowd, but she continued without hesitation. Charles, she said, glancing at her husband, has always been charming. That charm built his career and stole my heart. But charm, she paused, her gaze locking onto his, can conceal things. The murmurs grew louder as Charles shifted uneasily. Guests exchanged uncertain glances. Then Eleanor revealed what no one expected, the truth hidden beneath their golden facade. She pulled out a manila envelope and laid its contents bare, a series of photos documenting Charles's betrayal over the years. Gasps erupted as the images circulated, shattering the illusion of their perfect union. For decades, Eleanor said, her voice unwavering, I convinced myself that trust and forgiveness were enough. But there comes a time when the truth must rise, no matter how painful. Charles faltered, his usual composure replaced by stammered denials, but Eleanor silenced him with a raised hand. She turned to the room. Tonight isn't about celebrating lies, it's about breaking free. As she stepped down from the podium, the ballroom dissolved into chaos. Eleanor left without looking back, her departure signaling the end of their carefully crafted story. The next morning, the evidence was everywhere, shared, discussed, dissected. Charles found himself isolated, his once influential world crumbling. Meanwhile, Eleanor sought refuge in a coastal inn, its quiet simplicity a balm for her soul. She walked along the beach at sunrise, the waves carrying away the weight of years spent living in denial. The innkeeper, Grace, welcomed her with tea and silence, offering the space Eleanor needed to reflect. One morning, a knock at her door interrupted her solitude. It was her youngest daughter, Leela, her face flushed with emotion. "Mum," she whispered, stepping inside, "I had to see you." Lila confessed she had known of Charles's infidelity but feared speaking out. The revelation deepened Eleanor's sadness, not for herself, but for her daughter, who had carried the burden of a secret she should never have borne. They spent hours talking, rebuilding their bond with honesty and understanding. For the first time in years, Eleanor felt the stirrings of hope. Back in the city, Charles faced a fallout. His name was splashed across tabloids, his peers distanced themselves, and his children, except for Lila, avoided him. His meticulously crafted life lay in ruins, exposing a man who had sacrificed everything to maintain an illusion. Eleanor, however, embraced her newfound freedom. Each morning on the beach brought clarity, a chance to imagine a future unshackled from the past. For her, the golden anniversary marked not the celebration of 50 years, but the beginning of a life truly her own. The town square buzzed softly with life, the crisp autumn air carrying the hum of conversations and the faint melody of a street musician playing nearby. Eleanor and Charles sat quietly on the bench, a chasm of history between them that no words could fully bridge. Eleanor glanced at him, her thoughts a mixture of nostalgia and newfound clarity. The man sitting beside her, so different from the one she had known, seemed lost in his own reflections. His hands rested on his knees, fingers twitching as if trying to grasp something intangible. For years she had carried the weight of his betrayals, the pain of shattered trust, and the effort of keeping their life together. But now, sitting there, she felt only a lightness, a testament to the work she had done to heal. Forgiveness, she realized, wasn't about absolving him, but about freeing herself. Charles broke the silence first. "You look happy," he said, his voice soft and genuine. "I'm glad you found peace." Eleanor smiled faintly, her gaze fixed on the fountain before them. The sound of water trickling was soothing, a reminder of her new life's simplicity and grace. "I have," she replied, "and I hope you've found some too." He exhaled deeply, a mix of relief and sorrow. "I'm trying. It's not easy, but I'm learning to live differently, honestly." Eleanor turned to him, her expression serene. "That's good, Charles. Growth is always possible, even after everything." For a moment he looked like he wanted to say more, but instead he simply nodded. They sat in companionable silence, watching the world move around them. A mother chasing after her giggling toddler, an elderly couple holding hands as they strolled by, a painter capturing the scene on canvas. Finally, Eleanor rose from the bench, smoothing her coat. Charles looked up, his eyes holding a quiet plea. "Will I see you again?" he asked. Eleanor paused, considering her answer. "Perhaps," she said with a small smile, her voice kind but firm. "But I've moved forward, Charles. I hope you can too." With that, she turned and walked away, her steps confident and steady. Charles watched her until she disappeared into the crowd, her figure blending with the rhythm of the town. He felt a strange mix of loss and gratitude. Eleanor was right. He needed to move forward, to let go of what was, and find meaning in what remained. As she made her way home, the breeze carried the salty tang of the ocean, a reminder of the life she had rebuilt. Eleanor smiled to herself, her heart lighter than it had ever been. Her story, once intertwined with Charles's, now belonged solely to her. It was hers to write, hers to live, and hers to cherish. And she intended to make every page count. After years of emotional turmoil, Eleanor met Charles for what would be their final goodbye. They shared an unspoken understanding, the bitterness of their past finally fading. Eleanor walked away confidently, her heart lighter, knowing she had moved on. As she returned to her seaside cottage, the salty breeze and the promise of a new day filled her with gratitude. Her life was her own, built from the fragments of the one she left behind. Charles, too, felt a quiet peace as he sat alone, reflecting on the years that had slipped away. Though he knew he could never undo his mistakes, the closure with Eleanor brought him solace. Eleanor's days soon became filled with vibrant colors as she immersed herself in painting. Her art flourished, gaining recognition in the local community. Yet, her greatest satisfaction came from teaching others, sharing her passion with eager students. She found joy in the simple pleasure of creating and connecting. One spring morning, Eleanor received an invitation from her eldest daughter, Meredith, for a family reunion. Though hesitant, she decided to attend, eager to bridge lingering gaps with her children. At the gathering, warmth and laughter surrounded her, but an air of unease lingered. Later, her children shared news that Charles was gravely ill with pancreatic cancer and had expressed a wish to see her. Eleanor wrestled with the decision but ultimately chose to visit him. At the hospice, Eleanor found Charles frail but lucid. They spoke openly, shedding the weight of old resentments. Charles apologized sincerely for his betrayals, and Eleanor offered forgiveness which had long since settled in her heart. For a moment, they connected as two people who once shared a life, rather than as estranged partners. When she left, Eleanor felt no sorrow, only peace. Charles passed away shortly after, and Eleanor attended his quiet funeral. Surrounded by her family, she felt a sense of finality, knowing that chapter of her life had truly ended. Months later, Eleanor received a call from a young woman named Cynthia Reed. Cynthia revealed that her late mother, Helen Reed, one of Charles's mistresses, had left behind letters suggesting Charles was her biological father. Eleanor confirmed it was possible, offering to meet Cynthia to help her piece together the truth. When they met at a cozy cafe, Eleanor was struck by Cynthia's faint resemblance to Charles. Despite the complicated history, Eleanor chose to support Cynthia in her search for understanding, seeing it as a chance to extend compassion and create meaning from a painful past.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more